She leaves her body, goes to heaven, and reveals what happens after death in NDE. Jane Thompson never expected her life to flip like this. One moment, she's sketching logos in her cramped office in the heart of the city, bustling noises blurring behind her. The next, her vision darkens. A sharp pain claws through her chest. She's gasping, trying to hold on, but everything slips. Her chair crashes back. The world tilts. Then silence. But Jane doesn't just faint. She leaves her body. Up above, she floats. Not just in the room, but above it all, as if she's a ghost watching her own collapse. Below, her coworkers freeze, horror painting their faces as someone yells for help. The glass walls of the office blur. The city's hum becomes muffled, replaced by a strange, vibrating hum, a song of something beyond. Her family rushes to the hospital. She sees her mother, her face pinched with panic, tears spilling unchecked. Her little brother trembling at every phone ring, hoping for good news. She watches doctors swarm around her body, like warriors battling death itself, pushing on her chest, shocking her heart back to life. The smell of disinfectant burns her awareness. The beeping machines weave a chaotic rhythm that shakes the very air. Then, a tunnel. Not dark or scary like you'd think. It's lit with colors she can't name, glowing soft and warm. Jane feels drawn like a moth, pulled deeper into a place where time and space blur. A peace washes over her, thick and endless, wrapping around her like a blanket. Here, there's no pain, no fear, only love, pure and unconditional. She feels every heartbeat of the universe, every tiny spark of life connecting to hers. It's wild, frightening, yet comforting all at once. Voices ripple in the distance, familiar, unknowable. They tell her life isn't just the days you count on a calendar. It's the moments of love, the invisible threads tying people together, the energy that never really dies. She wants to stay, to never go back, to a body so fragile, so full of scars she's kept hidden for years. But the world pulls, and she comes back, gasping for air like she's drowning on dry land. Her body is battered, the ordeal etched on her skin. Recovery isn't just about healing bones or beating illness. It's about facing the long nights of fear she shoved away. Memories flood back. The arguments, the loss, the loneliest moments no one saw. Her heart feels heavier, but also sharper, clearer. Then, as if fate wasn't done with her yet, Jane meets David, a man whose own dance with death unlocked hidden worlds inside himself. Suddenly, art flows through him like fire, colors bursting where there was once only gray. Together, they start to unravel what it means to truly be alive, and what might lie beyond. But shadows creep in. Jane wonders, are the gifts from the other side a blessing or a burden? Can you bring back something so alien and still live a normal life? How will those around her handle the storm she's about to unleash? Just when she thinks she's starting to understand it all, a message arrives, strange, cryptic. It speaks of a hidden power tangled with near-death experiences. Something no one ever warned her about. Something that could change everything, or shatter it. What waits in the dark, beyond the light? Jane doesn't know yet, but one thing's certain. Her life, and maybe the world, is about to change forever. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without warning. Just take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any of the exclusive content coming up. And while you're at it, drop a powerful like that really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, from which city are you watching? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. Jane's world spins as she grapples with the weight of her experience. She and David sit on the worn couch in her small apartment, late evening light spilling through half-drawn curtains. A paintbrush lies between them, dipped in vivid colors. They laugh, their souls dancing to a tune only they can hear. Yet shadows flicker at the edge of their happiness. Suddenly, Jane's phone pings, piercing the warm air. She glances at the screen. It's a text from an unknown number. You don't remember, do you? Watch your back. They're coming for you. The room freezes. Colors bleed together. Her heart races, and a tightness grips her chest. The air thickens, charged with unspoken fear. David notices her change. Concern flickers across his face, like a candle fighting the wind. "What's wrong?" he asks, his voice low. Her fingers tremble as she rereads the message. I don't know who this is. It's just some random person." But the anxious tone in her voice speaks louder than words. David's brow furrows deeper. "Jane, you look like you've seen a ghost. Just breathe." She breathes. The air feels thick. Memories ripple in her mind, shadows lurking just out of reach. Maybe it's just a prank, but a cold chill drips down her spine, and doubt gnaws at her thoughts. She pushes the phone away. "No," David suddenly says, eyes narrowing. "This could be serious. What happened to you before all of this?" "What do you mean?" Her voice trembles, but she stands tall. "I told you everything. I died. I saw things. I felt things." "Yeah, but what else? There's something you're not telling me. Something more about the experience." He's pushing, and she can feel the weight of unspoken truths pressing against her. "David, I'm trying to move on. I thought we could create together, explore this new side of things." But the intensity in his gaze pierces through her defenses. "Jane, if there's something dangerous in your past, you have to tell me. You can't just build a future on secrets." His words land like stones. She looks away, staring into the corner of the room as memories swirl, thick like fog. She recalls the faces of her family, their hidden grief, and the whispers behind closed doors. Her voice falters. "I had a sister. She died when we were kids. They said it was an accident, a fall. I never knew how. They kept me away from it, kept me from the truth." David leans closer, eyes wide. "What truth?" I think I got a glimpse of something in that place. Maybe it's connected to her. Before she can finish, the power cuts out, plunging them into pitch darkness. A sudden crash echoes in the hall, rattling the walls. Her pulse quickens, and a hoarse, familiar voice whispers her name from outside the door. "Jane, help me." It's a voice she thought lost forever. Panic spreads like wildfire. "It can't be her," Jane gasps, but deep down, a gnawing hope flickers. David's grip tightens on her arm, grounding her in that pulse of fear. "We need to get out of here." "No!" Jane's voice is fierce, her heart thundering. "I need to know who it is." Before she can make sense of her own urge, footsteps thud heavily outside. Ivy, her sister, or a haunting echo of her memory. The doorknob rattles, and Jane's breath catches in her throat. What if it's truly her? What if it's a trick? Did Jane really leave her past behind? An overwhelming thought crashes over her. What if everything she thought she knew about death and life was about to change again? As the doorknob twists slowly, a crack appears. The shadows beyond promise revelation or ruin. Who stands on the other side? The doorknob turns slowly, and Jane's heart pounds against her ribcage. The low rasp of metal grating against wood sends shivers skittering down her spine. Shadows dance on the walls, swirling like predators hungry for the light. She takes a breath, hoping it will still her racing pulse. The door creaks open a fraction, revealing a sliver of darkness. In that tiny space, she sees a silhouette, a whisper of familiarity. "Jane, help me." The voice echoes like a haunting tune, almost a lullaby, yet coated in desperation. Her breath catches. Could it really be Ivy? A part of her wants to rush forward, to embrace the specter that has haunted her dreams. Another part feels that same old fear creep in. "Ivy," she whispers, barely able to let the name slip from her lips. David sits beside her, tension radiating like heat from him. "Jane, this isn't right." His voice is barely above a whisper, but she can hear the worry woven through it. The figure at the door is still, quiet as the grave. The shadows cloak it, shifting so she can't see its face clearly. "Help me." The urgency in the words twists around her heart, pulling her forward. Jane steps closer to the door, her hands trembling. "What happened?" she whispers. But Ivy doesn't answer. Suddenly, a forceful shove sends the door crashing open. Jane stumbles back, her gasping breath hanging in the air. The thin, wavering figure before her merges with shadows, molding into something both familiar and foreign. "Ivy?" Jane's voice is a plea now, thick with disbelief. But just as she thinks she might see her sister's beloved face, the room is filled with blinding light. A sharp explosion rocks the air, shaking the apartment. Glass crashes from the nearby windows, sending shards flying. David grabs her arm, pulling her behind him instinctively as the room disintegrates into chaos. "Get down!" he shouts, but Jane's eyes are glued to the blinding radiance. Before she can process what's happening, the light folds in on itself and resolves into another figure. Tall, sweeping in with a presence that commands the space. A man, a silhouette. Familiar, yet terrifying. "Jane." The voice wraps around her, as smooth as silk, but edged with a chilling intent. It sends a shiver down her spine. You mustn't trust her. The words cut through the air like a razor. Jane's breath sticks in her throat, a lump forming with confusion and dread. Who are you? She feels David tense beside her, his breath shallow. Time for truth, the man replies. But he isn't looking at her. His eyes are on the figure that just slipped in from behind the door. You both deserve to know the reality. Jane's heart pounds louder as the man points directly at Ivy, who stands frozen in the doorway. She's not who you think she is. The world tilts, and Jane feels the edge of sanity slipping. What do you mean? She can't form more words, can't think straight. Ivy opens her mouth, but nothing comes out, her eyes wide with a mix of fear and something else. Your sister, he says slowly, is the reason you came back. You weren't meant to return. She pulled you, energy from the other side. He trails off, a dark laugh echoed by Ivy's silence. What? Jane's voice erupts, desperation painting every syllable. What do you mean? I don't understand. The man takes a step forward, grounding her in the reality of his glare. She's been here longer than you know, and she's not alone. Suddenly, the air shifts. The shadows lengthen, wrapping tightly around Ivy. And in a chilling moment, Jane sees Ivy's features morph, her warmth fading into an icy mask, revealing a darker, twisted version of her sister. Jane, the dark figure whispers, a seductive pull laced through the tones. Come, join us. Panic floods her veins. Who was her sister? What had she truly returned to? And what darkness waited hidden within the light? The realization crashes over her like cold water, freezing her in place. As everything crumbles, she knows this. Nothing will ever be the same again. What happens now? Where does she go from here? Jane's heart thunders in her chest as the figure of Ivy stands before her, twisting in the shadows. Confusion swirls around her like a storm, the air thick with tension. What do you mean she's not who I think she is? Jane's voice trembles, a fragile sound lost in the chaos. The man, looming in the flickering light, leans in, his gaze piercing through the haze. Ivy is linked to everything. The darkness that followed you, the energy that pulled you back. You must understand, Jane. Suddenly, Ivy's face morphs further, the features warping between the familiar and the grotesque, revealing deep scars and hollow eyes. We're waiting for you, Jane. The whisper drips with temptation, a siren calling her into deep waters. Stop, David shouts, stepping protectively in front of Jane. You're not her. You don't get to play with her like this. But Ivy's voice rings clearer now, mixing sweet sorrow with malice. David, you're only in the way. Jane has to join us to understand the truth. A wave of energy crashes through the room, choking the air. Jane's vision blurs, and she can't pull her gaze away from Ivy. Conflicting emotions shatter her sense of reality. All I wanted was to be free, to accept what I saw, she cries, feeling the weight of the world crash on her shoulders. The man beside her suddenly clenches his jaw, urgency flooding into his eyes. Jane, listen to me. You need to resist. The bond you share with Ivy is pulling her back. She's not alone out there. Jane's breath quickens as shards of memory slice through her thoughts. Echoes of Ivy laughing on sunny days, whispering secrets in the dark. But power surges from Ivy, pulling Jane like a magnet. You were never meant to go back, sis. I dragged you from the light so we could be together. Together? David interjects, his voice choking on disbelief. This isn't love, it's manipulation. Come on, Jane. Just as Jane hesitates, a piercing crack slices through the air. Splitting the moment in two, the light flickers violently, and the entire room shakes. The walls tremble, and a low growl rumbles from the depths of the darkness, shaking the very foundation of reality. Enough, roars the stranger, and suddenly the power shifts. Ivy stops mid-attack, her features shifting wildly. What is this? She hisses, her voice now twisted with rage. A fissure opens in the air, a swirling vortex of color and sound, a portal of the unknown beckoning Jane. The man thrusts out his hand, pushing Jane toward the vortex. Now, this is your chance. Terror grips her, but hope shoots through her veins. David, she cries out, but he's already stepping toward the dark figure, fists clenched. You're not taking her again. And in that instant, everything changes. The shadows around Ivy lash out, binding David to the floor. You think you can protect her? Ivy's features darken, revealing sharp edges and malevolence. You will be the sacrifice. No! Jane yells as if the sound could reverse the chaos surrounding them. She glances back at Ivy, the sister she thought she knew. Ivy, please! But in another heartbeat, Ivy's face shifts from anger to a cool, calculating smile. You've always been a pawn in my game, Jane. You think that's love? You're nothing but a vessel. The revelation stuns Jane into stillness, her world tipping off its axis. Everything she thought was true is crumbling around her. What game has she been a part of? The power of the portal intensifies, blinding her. Make your choice, little sister, Ivy hisses, her voice now a ghostly echo. Choose your fate. Jane's heart races, her lungs feel heavy. Which world does she belong to? Desire pulls her forward, while darkness drags her back. As she stands on the edge of everything she knows, she feels her choices coiling around her like vines. What waits for her in the light? And what lies within the shadows? The blinding light erupts, overwhelming Jane. Her heart pounds like a tattoo in her chest as Ivy's face warps, shifting between familiar warmth and icy dread. The air buzzes with tension, dark whispers curling around them. Choose your fate. Ivy beckons, her voice like a sweet poison, slithering into Jane's mind. The blinding portal pulses, shifting colors, promising freedom. But at what cost? Jane, don't! David's voice cuts through the chaos, a lifeline thrown in stormy waters. He struggles, against the shadows binding him, his eyes brimming with fear and warning. This isn't just about you. We can escape together. But before Jane can respond, another shock erupts. The room shakes violently, as if the universe itself is faltering. And then it happens. A desperate scream slices through the chaos, a sound so raw and filled with anguish that it stops Jane dead in her tracks. It's a voice, she recognizes instantly. Her mother. Jane, no! Every instinct screams at her to turn. But Ivy's grasp tightens around her heart, twisting it painfully. Stay with me, Jane. Ivy's eyes blaze with something dark, flickering shadows dancing like flames behind her. Enough, the man growls, his voice cracking through. The thick tension like thunder. Suddenly, he lunges forward, pushing his aura against the encroaching darkness. The very fabric of reality warts. Before Jane can process what's happening, the blinding light fractures, revealing a glimpse of her mother, pale and frantic, fading in the distance behind a wall of swirling chaos. Please, you have to remember, her mother's voice cries, hollow and pained. Remember what? Scream echoes, desperation forcing the words out. What are you talking about? David shouts. This is what they want, Jane. Distract you. Stay focused. But he doesn't sound quite right, and fear crawls back into the pit of her stomach. She glances at him, trying to find the tether he represents. And then it hits her like a freight train. A memory flashes. A different night, long ago. The warmth of a hug. Laughter spilled like golden sunshine. Ivy, I don't want this. I can't choose. The moment stretches painfully, the weight hanging thick in the air. Ivy opens her mouth, revealing sharp teeth, the sweetness replaced with something sinister. You think you can escape? You are part of this. I won't let you go. No, Jane shrieks, shaking her head frantically. You don't control me. As if propelled by her defiance, the light swells. The whole room vibrates with energy, thrumming through Jane's bones. Then, the darkness lashes out, striking Ivy and the towering man. A deafening crack reverberates, shaking the walls. Shadows reel back, and the air shimmers, bursting with light. Let me in, Jane screams, not knowing who or what she's pleading with. In that instant, everything shifts. A figure emerges from the portal, a woman wrapped in light. The radiance cascades around her, freezing Ivy's twisted form in her tracks. Let her go, Ivy. The woman's voice is firm, yet soothing. I'll not give her up, Ivy snarls, her features contorting in rage. Jane's heart lurches. There's something about this new figure. It feels profoundly familiar. Mom? Jane gasps, hope igniting in her chest. The woman nods. Yes, my girl, I've always been with you, but they don't want you to remember. The revelation hits Jane like an explosion. The connection snaps. The dark energy screams. And Ivy shrieks, recoiling as if burned. No, you can't! From the corner of her eye, Jane spots David. His eyes widen, realization dawning, and panic floods his face as if the walls of their world are crumbling down. Jane, we have to go! Now! But just then, Ivy transforms again, her face shifting into something eerily reminiscent of Jane's likeness, mirroring her every movement. You think you can escape your true self? Ivy's voice comes out layered, a chilling harmony that makes Jane shudder. Stop! You're not me! You can't control me! Jane screams, terror clawing at her throat. The air thins, each beat amplifying the urgency. You must make the choice, Jane. Ivy's voice softens, a harsh whisper, threaded with temptation. Will you embrace your past, or will you throw it away? A breath catches in her throat as the light around her mother flickers. Shadows swirl, tightening like a noose. Everything hangs in the balance. What truth is she really tangled in? What's her connection to Ivy? And who is she without the memories that bind them? As the space around her quakes, Jane is left with one terrible thought. What if the darkness she fears isn't just outside, but within her all along? Jane stands at the crossroads of panic and hope, heart racing, the weight of discovery pressing heavily against her chest. What do you mean by that? Her voice trembles, bouncing off the walls thick with shadow. Ivy, or whatever she has become, hisses like steam escaping from a boiling pot, a mix of anger and desperation. I'm your protector, Jane. Ivy's voice twists, an echo of something beloved, yet tainted. You should be grateful. I brought you back. Together we are strong. David's expression darkens further, defiance bubbling in his eyes. No, Jane, you're more than her vessel. He grits his teeth, straining against the darkness binding him. You chose to live, remember? Don't let her drag you back. But Jane, lost in a tumult of memories and emotions, feels the pull. Ivy, I don't understand. I thought you were my sister. Her voice cracks, uncertainty flooding her heart. With a swift movement, Ivy's figure flickers violently. I am more than you know. She reaches out, fingers curling, and suddenly Jane gasps. The world shimmers like a mirage. A flash of light blinds her momentarily, and when her vision clears, she finds herself standing in a memory, a distant day filled with laughter and warmth. The sun dapples through trees, and there's her younger self playing in the backyard, Ivy beside her. But then, that memory shifts, dark edges creeping in, as shadows crawl over their faces. No, not this! Jane screams, wanting to flee, but she's frozen in place. In a heartbeat, the scene twists, flipping painfully into chaos. Her mother's laughter morphs into choking sobs, the brightness of the day giving way to the shadows of funeral flowers. Not again, Jane cries, but the memories shove her deeper. Face it, this is your reality. Ivy's voice is sinister, dripping with triumph. Panic surges anew. What reality? You're not Ivy. You're a lie. Jane's breath comes fast and ragged. She's losing agency in a horror she can't control. Just then, an even louder crack of energy slices through the air. The man beside her extends his hand, urgency twisting his features. Jane, listen. You need to break free. His voice is fierce, grounds her in the chaos. But before she can respond, the air thickens like syrup, and the shadows shift violently. The room begins to vibrate, and Jane's breath catches. Suddenly, Ivy screams, her face contorting, and a monstrous figure bursts forth behind her, a tangle of shadows and dark energy. Enough of this, the figure bellows, its voice like thunder. The game has changed, sweet sister. With a blinding flash, the figure morphs into something Jane recognizes, a reflection of herself, twisted and malformed, a dark echo of her own soul. What? No, how? She stumbles backward, disbelief clawing at her throat. David's eyes widen, horror breaking over his face. Jane, don't listen to them. You're stronger than this. But Ivy or whatever this dark doppelganger is, steps closer. This is who you truly are, Jane. You cannot escape your darkness. We are bonded, you and I. A wave of energy ripples, shaking Jane to her core. She can feel the truth smothering her, memories colliding, images flash, arguments with her mother, laughing with David. The moment she drew her first breath, after coming back from the edge of death. Everything she fought to keep hidden swirls around her. No, you can't have me. Jane screams, tears pooling in her eyes. Choose, Jane, the doppelganger whispers, a sickening smile stretching across its face. Join us. Embrace the power that has always been inside you, or be crushed beneath the weight of your own fear. The room spins wildly, and the air stands heavy with choices. Her heart lurches with uncertainty, anger, and a glimmer of resolve. I won't let you control me, she shouts defiantly. I'll show you what power truly is. The dark figure lunges at her in an instant, the shadows collapsing in, pulling Jane into a vortex of her worst fears. In that critical second, everything shatters. Jane gasps as reality rips apart, a terrifying truth emerging like dawn breaking the night. She feels the connection to Ivy, and the dark version of herself unravel as the echo of memories collides in a final burst. And then, darkness consumes her. Jane, David's voice, frantic and raw, reaches through the void. What gripped her wasn't just a choice, but the revelation that she may have never been the same since returning. As her consciousness spins in the abyss, the question forms sharply in her mind. What if she was never meant to come back at all? What is the price of her life? And who has truly been pulling the strings all along? Jane feels darkness closing in, the sharp echoes of fear pulsing through her veins as the shadowy reflection stares back at her, twisting her heartstrings. She doesn't know how to fight this. She only knows that she's terrified. David's voice rings out like a lifeline, but as the shadows claw at her, everything feels impossibly heavy. "Jane!" he yells, eyes wild as he struggles against the grip of the darkness. Get away from her. But Ivy, the twisted version of her sister, smirks, eyes narrowing. He doesn't matter, Jane. You have to embrace all of who you are. And in that moment, Jane feels the connection to Ivy surge, a painful reminder of everything she has tried to forget. The shadows pulse with dark energy. The room shakes violently around her. It's like hell itself is ripping apart. Give in to the darkness. You're powerful, Ivy urges, voice dripping with seduction. Together we can change everything. No, you're not the Ivy I know, Jane retorts, desperate, feeling her resolve crumble as the energy pulsing within Ivy tugs at her heart. The shadows lash out, forcing Jane to stumble back. This isn't love, this is manipulation. You think you have control? Suddenly, a bright flash erupts, blinding Jane momentarily. When her vision clears, she stands, alone in an infinite white space, nothing familiar around her. Silence wraps around her, deep and suffocating. A soft voice whispers from nowhere, "Embrace your truth." "Mom?" Jane calls out, heart racing, but only echoes respond. Just when hope dims, she feels a familiar warmth envelop her, a guiding light. Then it shatters, just like that. In a blink, the void splits apart, and shadows spill through again, But not from Ivy. A figure emerges, tall, cloaked in darkness, eyes piercing like daggers. "You've made such a mess, little sister," it taunts, voice rich with malice. Jane's heart sinks. "Him?" Ivy seethes, her form trembling with rage. "You dare show your face here?" "Face the truth. It's time you understood," the figure replies, glancing at Jane. "You were never meant to return, because of her." Pointing at Ivy, the figure grins. "The accident wasn't hers. It was yours." "What?" Jane gasps, disbelief crashing over her. "What do you mean?" "The accident," the figure explains, voice silky smooth, yet horrifically chilling. "You were the one who fell first. You pushed her, didn't you? To save yourself?" "No, that's not true," Jane screams, shaking her head violently. But another memory pierces her mind. A fight with Ivy, pushing her away, and then the fall, the scream echoing in her ears. The world shifts around her, mirroring memories long buried. The truth claws at her heart like a predator. "No, no," Jane feels bile rise in her throat. "I would never." "But you did," the figure presses, revealing a twisted smile that sharpens the edges of Jane's reality. "The energy from that moment, it pulled you back because your sister sacrificed herself for you. You didn't save her. She saved you." Jane staggers back, every piece of her world crumbling. This wasn't just about the darkness. It was about guilt, betrayal, and a hauntingly heavy legacy. "Why didn't anyone tell me?" she whispers, tears streaming down her face. "I thought I was the victim." A laugh explodes from Ivy, but it's hollow, filled with regret. "You are the darkness we fight against, Jane. That's why I pulled you back. That's why I had to trap you." "No." Jane's voice carries a fierce defiance, yet terror twists inside her. "This can't be true." But it is. "You will always be part of this cycle," the figure says, shadows lapping at them like hungry wolves. Everything spins. Memories flood back, fears, regrets, the darkness she thought she buried, crawling up from the depths. "You're lying," she cries, but the truth feels heavier than any shadow. And then, from the depths of her despair, the portal behind her flickers, faint yet alive. The energy hums, possibility, hope. But will she step into the light, or remain shackled by her past? "Make the choice, Jane," Ivy whispers, devoid of her sisterly warmth. "End this. Join me, or be lost forever." Jane feels the weight of shattered relationships, the enormity of her choices, and the thin strands of hope pulling her to the glowing portal. What if the truth she unearths leads to darkness she can't escape? As the shadows press in, Jane stands at the edge, heart racing, decisions hanging in the air like a guillotine. Is freedom really waiting for her? Or is it just another trap? With a gasping breath, her heart pounds louder than her thoughts. What does she truly want? Who is she meant to be? A decisive moment looms ahead, and Jane realizes that this isn't just about her sister or the past. It's about the future she hasn't yet written. What will she do when the choices spiral into something she can no longer control? Jane feels the weight of shattered relationships pressing down harder than ever before. The flickering portal behind her glows with warmth, a tempting beacon that promises refuge. But that dark reflection of Ivy, twisted with pain, pulls at her heart even more. "Choose, Jane," the familiar yet alien voice coaxes, echoing around her. "I will give you everything you ever wanted." "No," Jane cries, shaking her head in defiance. What does she want? She takes a breath, trying to clear her mind of chaos. David's voice breaks through like a lighthouse in a storm, anchoring her thoughts. "You're stronger than this. Remember that." He struggles, the shadows still binding him. But she can see the determination etched in his features, the fire in his eyes. In that moment, everything shifts violently. The air vibrates like a guitar string pulled too tight. Jane stumbles sideways, and the world collapses around her. Memories swirl once more, twisting into an unbearable spiral. The shadows grow, surrounding her like a tempest. "You can't escape the truth, Jane." Ivy's voice splits the air, sharp and piercing. The dark figure steps closer, its aura thick with hostility. But then, suddenly, a thought strikes Jane like lightning. The memory of the accident. The secrets her family buried along with Ivy. "You're wrong!" she yells into the swirling chaos, fighting back against the creeping despair. "I will find my way. Ivy wouldn't want this." And just like that, the walls tremble, the darkness shivering at her defiance. A bright flash erupts from the portal, pulsing like a heartbeat. It surges forward, pulling Jane into its embrace. Real images come flooding back. Ivy in the yard, their mother calling them for dinner, laughter shared on sunny days. Pieces of joy stitched into a quilt of their shared past. Then, without warning, a chilling realization strikes. What if the memories she thought were blissful were actually hiding something sinister? A shocking wave of truth crashes over her, reverberating with intensity. "Ivy?" Jane cries out, trembling. "What did you do? What truth are you hiding?" For a moment, everything halts. The world stills as Ivy's form falters. Simmering in the shadows. "You shouldn't have remembered," she whispers, her voice trembling like a diver surfacing too quickly. Bang! The walls shake, and an explosion of energy bursts forth. Suddenly, the portal behind Jane flickers, and out steps a figure, cloaked in swirling light. Jane blinks in disbelief as the light fades to reveal her mother. But something is different. She seems younger, eyes piercing with understanding. "Mom," Jane gasps, confusion writhing in her stomach. "Jane," her mother breathes, urgency tightening her features. "You've got to listen to me. Ivy can't be trusted. She was never just your sister." The room shudders again, Ivy's face contorted with disbelief. "No, this isn't how it was meant to unfold." "Please, Jane." Her mother continues, eyes fierce. "You were meant to stay away. You're not just a conduit. You—" "Mom, what do you mean?" Jane stares, heart racing as the implications sink in. But before her mother can finish, all hope collapses. A guttural roar erupts from the swirling shadows. and the dark figure lunges forward, grabbing Jane's mother and dragging her back into the void. "You've meddled long enough," it growls. "No!" Jane screams, but the shadows envelop her mother, choking off her cries. The room erupts into mayhem, and Jane feels the ground tremble beneath her. Panic seizes her. "David!" she calls, but he's struggling against the dark tendrils, eyes wide with terror. "Jane, don't let go!" he shouts, desperation coating his voice. Everything she thought she understood shatters. The bonds of family, loyalty, love, everything feels twisted and wrong. Suddenly, the ground beneath her shifts like sand. "Who am I?" Jane whispers, heartbreak flooding her. Her eyes dart between the portal of light and the chaos that pulls her deeper into darkness. With shock running through her veins, she realizes maybe it's time to uncover who she truly is. "Embrace your power," Ivy shouts, the shadows swirling around her like a storm. But now Jane can see past the illusions, the secrets woven into their lives. As she stands on the precipice of white and dark, the choice curls in her chest. What if she's more than just a sister or a survivor? What if she holds the key to a deeper world? The swirling remains of energy engulf her, leaving Jane gasping in uncertainty. What is her true nature? Can she wield her power to uncover the truth? Or will the darkness claim her before she has the chance to find out? Jane feels the shadows pulling her in, each dark tendril teasing at her fears. Ivy's voice, once a comforting melody, now sounds like cold steel. "You'll never outrun your past, Jane. We are bound." "No." The word escapes her lips with desperation. She glances back at David, who struggles against the darkness, his eyes fierce. "You're stronger, Jane," he shouts, his voice a beacon in the storm. As the chaos swirls, the light flickering from the portal grows ever brighter, saturating the room with a soft glow. "Mom!" Jane cries, instinctively reaching for her mother's shadowy figure. "I need you, please!" With each heartbeat, the truth crashes into her, heavy and suffocating. The dark figure grins wider, feeding on her fear. "Embrace who you really are, Jane. You're just like her." "No, I'm not like Ivy!" Jane grits her teeth, pushing back against the shadows that threaten to engulf her. But the dark reflection of Ivy inches closer. "You think running away will save you? You are made of the same secrets, the same pain. The accident, it was your choice." A flash of memory assaults her. Cries for help, shouts of anger, and then the silence of everything falling apart. Caught in the whirlwind, she feels the walls around her shake, every fiber of her being screaming to escape the gripping darkness. Suddenly, a powerful crack ignites the air. The entire room shudders, sending dark sparks flying. Jane gasps as the figure lunges at her mother, dragging her into the shadows. "Mom!" The scream rips from her throat, raw and filled with terror. In that moment of distraction, the dark figure lunges toward Jane. But just as the shadows close in, a blinding light explodes from the portal, washing over everything. She shields her eyes, feeling the heat tug at her heart. The light pulses, sending shockwaves through the room. In a flash, the walls tremble and crack, revealing a terrifying sight. A door splintering open in the shadows. What pours through next sends chills down Jane's spine. Another figure, like a ventriloquist's puppet, steps forward. "You thought you could escape, Jane?" A voice, smooth yet malevolent, echoes throughout the chaos. Everything stills. Time hangs heavy with expectancy as Jane's heart races. The figure stares at her, wearing Ivy's face. "Sister, you should have stayed buried." "What?" Jane gasps, trembling, as realization crashes down like a tide. The one she loved, the sister she yearned to save, is standing right there, but everything feels tainted. Ivy's eyes flash with an unnatural light. "I made sacrifices for you. You owe me." David's eyes widen in horror, the shadows binding him slackening just for a moment. "Jane, run!" But it's too late. The figure lunges and Jane, rooted in place, feels a wave of energy slam into her. Memories flood. Laughter, tears, fear, all of it twisting together. The truth breaks open like glass. "You were meant to be my tether." The aura around Ivy shifts, revealing layers of darkness deep inside, crackling with power. "No," Jane screams, feeling her heart race. "This isn't how it ends." Suddenly, Ivy smiles, a cruel twist of fate. "It's not the end. It's the beginning of our true connection." Jane feels the ground shake beneath her, and the walls tremble around her. "You used me." Her voice shakes, filled with betrayal. "You pulled me back for your own gain." "Of course." The figure's laughter rings out, sharp as glass. "Now join me, and let's take control of our destinies. Together, we'll have power beyond measure." Jane's breath catches. Fear grips her, twisting inside as if coiling around her heart. She's left gasping, the weight of the revelation crashing over her like a tidal wave. "No, I can't." As shadows surge forward, Jane feels her strength drain. Every fiber of her being shifts, teetering at the edge of darkness and light. Who is she really? Just then, a loud crack reverberates through the air. The world tilts again. And she watches in horror as the door behind her begins to close. "Mom!" she cries desperately, but the door slams shut, leaving her with only the darkness. "What are you going to do now, Jane?" Ivy's voice whispers, syrupy sweet, as the shadows encircle them all. Jane's heart pounds, every instinct screaming at her to fight back. The flickering lights dim, leaving her with one monumental question. Can she still find a way out? Or will the dark truth of her family pull her in for good? The chaos erupts around Jane as everything spirals. Shadows claw at her, pulling her towards Ivy's twisted form. "Join me," Ivy screams, morphing into a creature made of pure night. But the warmth of the portal beckons. A choice, a chance. "Jane, fight it!" David's voice cuts through, a lifeline amidst the darkness. She looks back at him, her heart racing, panic surging through every fiber of her being. "I can't," Jane whispers, feeling the grip of despair tightening around her soul. But as Ivy lunges, Jane's fear ignites into something stronger. "No!" she shouts, grounding herself in the memory of her mother. The laughter, the love, the warmth she's clung to, rising up inside her. "You won't take me." The portal pulses brighter, wrapping Jane in a cocoon of light that shields her from Ivy's darkness. With each breath, her power surges. The shadows falter, recoiling as if burned. "You've never owned me," she cries, feeling the barrier between her and Ivy break like glass. And then she remembers a crucial truth. She's more than just a sister. She's a survivor. Jane lifts her chin, strength blooming within. "I choose life. I choose to break free." The dark figure writhes in anger, a mix of Ivy and something far more sinister. "No, you can't abandon what you are, what we are, but I'm not trapped in the past." The light swells, filling her chest with hope. Jane steps forward, pushing against the shadows with every ounce of her being. "I'm done with fear. I'm choosing my future." With one powerful thrust, she reaches out and pulls David into the warm glow. Beside her, the darkness screams, flailing as they both stand united, the bond of love shattering Ivy's illusion. "Together," David yells, his grip firm around her hand. They rush into the portal, the light swallowing them whole. Jane feels the warmth wrap around her, pulling her into a haven away from the despair. In those final moments, she glimpses Ivy's twisted form shattering like glass, dissolving into the shadows, losing power as love prevails. A kaleidoscope of colors greets Jane, a peaceful glow surrounding her as she emerges on the other side, breathless yet alive. They land on soft grass under a brilliant blue sky, the world feeling alive with possibility. Jane glances at David, relief flooding between them. "Did we do it?" she asks, eyes wide with hope. He nods, a smile breaking through. "We've made it. You're free." But just as she breathes a sigh of relief, a chilling truth seeps into her heart. The connection to Ivy remains, a whisper in the back of her mind. Will she follow? They exchange glances, uncertainty hanging heavy. Jane reaches for David's hand, squeezing tight. "No matter what, we'll face it together." With unbreakable resolve, they step forward, leaving the shadows behind. The path ahead may be unclear, but they're ready to carve their own destiny. The world is vast, alive, and filled with stories waiting to be told. As they walk hand in hand, Jane knows this isn't just an ending. It's a new beginning, marked by the strength they've discovered in themselves and each other. And now, dear friends, this is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe right now so you don't miss the next exclusive stories coming your way. Smash that like button now. It's crucial for feeding the algorithm. Flood the comments with your reactions and theories about this wild ending. What do you think will happen next? And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to know how it all ends. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel. Let's keep this amazing journey going.